Hello guys, this is Bharat and I welcome you all to this session in which I am going to talk about while loops in Python. In our last session, we learned about if-else in Python. Before starting the session, let's take a look to the agenda for today's session. First, I will discuss what are while loops in Python. Then, I will tell you the syntax of while loops in Python. Moving further, I will discuss flowcharts, and finally, I will sum up this session with examples and nested while loop. I hope you guys are clear with the agenda, and I suggest you to subscribe to this channel for latest updates. Now, without wasting time, let's see what is while loops in Python. A while loop is a control flow statement that allows code to be executed repeatedly based on a given Boolean condition. The while loop in Python is used to iterate over a block of code as long as the test expression is true. In simple words, while loops are used to repeat a block of code as long as the condition stays true. Now let's see syntax of while loops. The syntax for while loop is firstly the initialization, then we declare the while, and in brackets we declare the condition. Based on this condition, the statements will be iterated, or we can say the body of while loop. Then at last we will declare the increment or decrement. If you are not clear, don't worry, you will get clear when we will see some examples of it. Before that, let's move to the flowchart of it. So here is the flowchart. The flow comes from here. First we will test the condition. If the condition states false, the flow will get terminated or the loop will terminate. If the test condition states true, the while body will be executed until and unless the test condition is true. For example, if the test condition states true 5 times, the body of loop will be executed 5 times. Now let's try while loops practically. So this is my Jupyter notebook. In this we will do the practical examples. Now firstly a simple example of while loop. At the very first we have to initialize an variable. So let's take I as a variable and assign a value 1 to it. Then the while condition, in brackets we will write the condition, the colon, and this is the body of the while loop. And at last we will do the increment I plus equals to 1. Let's run it. See, I is printed 5 times because we have checked the condition that I starts from 1 and I should be less than 6. That means the value of I can iterate over 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now let's try another example. Suppose I take I equals to 100 in the while loop, and here I check the condition if I is divisible by 2 and the remainder comes as 0. That means if I is divisible by 2, it will print the value of I, and at last we should do the decrement here. See, it has printed only one output. Now if I change the value of decrement here as I minus equals to 2, see, it has printed all the values that are divisible by 2, and this is an infinite loop. It never ends. You can see that. So this was the example of an infinite loop. Now let me tell you a simple example of an infinite loop. Suppose I equals to 1 and the while loop condition is if I is greater than 5. Then I print I, and suppose I forget to give the increment or decrement here, then the loop will goes here infinite times. See, again we have 1 1 1 1 1. This is also infinite times. We need to stop it from here. So if you forget to give the increment in such conditions, the loop goes infinite. So always check your conditions and increment or decrement accordingly. Now an interesting topic we have is we also have else in while loops. For example, I equals to 1 in the while condition I less than 6. print the value of I and the increment here. Then outside the loop of while I will write else print I is no longer smaller than 6. Okay, it will iterate over the while loop until the value of I is less than 6, and if the value of I becomes equals or greater than 6, then it comes to the else part. Let's run it. Say it has printed 1 2 3 4 5. The while loop conditions, it has iterated 5 times, and when the condition becomes false, it has executed the else part. Suppose the condition is false for the very first time, then it will directly execute the else part. Now the last topic we have is nested while loops. So nested while loops are while loops inside another while loop. For example, if I write a while condition I less than 5, print I, and inside this while loop I again declare a while loop j less than 5, print j. So this is a nested while loop. I plus equals to 1. So j is not defined. Let's define it here. J equals to 1. And when we run it, see it is printing I. This I comes from the outer loop, and then it has printed 1 2 3 4. So this was nested while loop, a while loop condition inside another while loop. Here is another example of nested while loop. So this is all for today. In our next session, we will learn about for loops in Python. Till then, practice while loops and do as more as examples and practicals you can do. And don't forget to like and subscribe this channel for more videos.